The Origin of Species apparently makes reference to Darwin's groundbreaking book about the theory of evolution. Darwin's findings were contradicting the most fundamental Christian values and teachings, as he basically proved that some of the very first words in the Bible in Genesis are wrong. Man was not created by God, but is the end result of a process of evolution that can be traced back to the most simple forms of life. Like radically phrased, our ancestors are cockroaches and bacteria, and the genes of man and pig are 98% identical. And that's hard to understand for, I think, for almost everyone. I find it hard to understand, not just for Christians or for believers who take the Bible literal. The question is, how do you explain complexity? Take the human eye, for example. That's the example we use in the lyrics, actually. It's an incredibly complex organ. How can that just, come up from out of nowhere, basically? Where does it come from? The lyrics go, all you see is the human eye on top of the mountain peak so high. That's a metaphor used by Richard Dawkins. People think it's impossible that something like that can happen by chance. It's such a huge step from the simple eye of a worm, which can basically just distinguish darkness from light, to the complexity of the lens eye. But to conclude that metaphor, Dawkins says there is a slope on the back side of that mountain, like a kind of gradual flat slope that we don't see because, and again, this is taken straight from the lyrics, our brains are accustomed to the scope of a lifetime. We will never be able to see how the sluggish vessel of evolution is slowly creeping up the hill. That's the lyrics. What you have to understand is that it's a process, that takes like hundreds of millions of years, and for me that makes it a lot easier to understand. We don't have to jump up that steep wall of rock, to get to the top of the mountain. That's not necessary. It's a gradual process. We just will never be able to realize or to actually observe that within our short lifespan. Darwin was misinterpreted from both ends of the political spectrum, pretty much, both left and right. And some of his theses were probably wrong, but I really admire his courage, and also his passion with which he was pursuing his scientific endeavors, and I really admire his exploratory spirit too. It really takes courage to stand up for convictions that are completely at odds with the zeitgeist. And he was being ridiculed by his fellow scientist colleagues, that thought he was just like what he was saying was complete bullshit, basically. So, and he still thought he was right, and he was holding on to it for that reason. So I have a lot of respect for that. And while some of his theses were certainly wrong, a lot of it still holds true. And if Refused wrote The Shape of Punk to Come, then Darwin's The Origin of Species was probably the shape of science to come, so to speak. Musically, it's another rather typical Ocean track. It could have been on Precambrian. It's epic, it's long, it's really long. The two songs, The Origin of Species and The Origin of God, what I'm going to talk about next, actually belong together. And there's this mid passage where it's just a really cool drum beat that Luke came up with in the rehearsals, and a bass line, a contrabass actually, and a violin. And recording that was quite a pain in the ass, because although the player was pretty good, she was a classical musician who wasn't really used to playing weird rhythmical stuff, and it sounds pretty straightforward, but it's a 15/16th pattern that's played over a 4/4 beat, so a 16/16th beat. So it's changing every time. It really fucks with your mind in a way. So we had quite a hard time recording that with a poor lady who had to do it, but in the end she got it down. So yeah, that's that track.